was given a big opportunity, or asked to take on a big challenge this past fall, and I became the president of the SSDC, which is the union that represents directors and choreographers who work for the stage across the country. And so this is my first year trying to juggle being the president of a union and be a director and a choreographer and travel out of town and be a mom and have 2 kids at home and all of that. I spend a lot of time on my day off talking on the phone and arranging other stuff for the union. We have a new executive director as well, so she's just getting used to her job. I'm getting used to being the president, and you know, union business doesn't stop just because I say, oh, I'm going to be away for a month. Representing the interests of directors and choreographers is a really interesting challenge. We all work in similar situations but very different situations, and we don't work with each other. You know, unions usually represent a group of people who work together, but directors and choreographers, there's just one of us on each show. So it's really, I think it's important to be able to be a voice for those people, and I really enjoy that part of my work. But I also really love directing. Having just done the show in New Orleans for the New Orleans Opera Association in April, it was very interesting to do it again so soon. I think you guys got the better deal because it's real fresh in my mind. I was also able to take some great things that I was able to do in New Orleans and bring them along for this production and throw out the stuff I didn't think worked so well. But opera companies do shows a little differently, and so you have a full production department and a set that is designed specifically for our production. And when you work for opera companies, they don't always build you a set. You might be renting a set. So you're working your ideas into another scenic designer's ideas. This version, I was able to work with a set designer before we even started so that he and I could collaborate on what was going to be the best for this particular production. So I think this one's better. Shh, don't tell. I always like to direct and choreograph the show because it's more, I can complete my vision, because as the director and the choreographer, I don't have to talk to the choreographer and say, I don't really like that. So it's the way I prefer to do this particular show, but it means I'm doing the work of 2 people, so it is a challenge, and I spend a lot of hours getting ready for the day and doing the day. The challenge is casting this show right from the beginning, because you really need triple threat performers. They have to sing, they have to dance, they have to act, and those people aren't a dime a dozen, so it is a big search, and I really investigate each performer very carefully. We were very lucky because we were able to get a very, very talented group of actors, singers, and dancers to be part of this production, and they are all using their skills to the maximum. This show, while it's set in the 50s and was developed in the 50s, is able to be successful now because while I don't update the show, I don't set it in 2007 or 1985 or anything like that, what I take is the skills of performers, particularly, I would say, particularly the male dancers, and I have them spinning, flying, tumbling, jumping, turning, probably a little bit more than Mr. Robbins did in the 1950s, but I really also believe that had he choreographed that show 20 years later or even 50 years later, he would have done the same thing, because it's too tempting. You can't, if you have a boy who can jump in the air and split his legs open and roll on the ground and stand up, you're going to ask him to do it because it looks great when he does. So I think that's the big change from the 50s to now. So, you know, we're moving along at a pace, everybody's spinning, their eyes are rolling around in their head because everything is moving very quickly all around us. And while we still have a ways to go, we are very on target. We have an orchestra coming tonight, so the cast gets to hear the full orchestra playing the show, which is really always a great moment. I always like to watch their faces when they hear the music that I've been talking about and that they know exists, but suddenly, there's that trumpet solo, oh, there are those drums underneath the dance, and it like completely changes the way everybody does everything. So I think we're right on target for a really exciting opening next weekend. I would get my tickets now because the excitement is just exploding on the stage.